Good people. It's not often we agree to receive prototype enclosures or product in general, but it's the CES week. All right, we're going in. What do we have here? Huh, a MasterFrame. I am genuinely so excited about this. Wow. The MasterFrame 700. This is actually a very interesting enclosure because it's basically an open frame, or it can be converted into a test bench. Wow, this is cool. Oh man, there's more? Oh, now that is a serious piece of tempered glass. These are all the components. Now it's time to assemble. First, we're gonna start off with an open air build in which all your components are visible and we get to utilize that beautiful, massive tempered glass piece. Shall we? But first, a quick message from our sponsor.
Don't have the time to wait for parts and build your own gaming PC? NZXT Build has your back. Navigate through their simple UI, choose the games you want to play, pick a budget that works, and the configurator will do its magic by offering some options built just for you. Or choose from one of their awesome pre-built setups. Want something more custom? Go crazy building your own dream PC from the ground up. All of these are backed with a 2-year all-in-one warranty on parts, labor, and RAM overclocking. Save your time and start gaming right away with NZXT Build. Check it out down below.
Okay, seriously, this is one of the coolest frames I've seen in 2021. Cooler Master is going to be amazing this year if they continue with these fresh ideas. I love the NR200, my case of the year. Check out our words. But the MasterFrame 700, it has something so unique about it. And first of all, if you're the type of person who will complain about dust accumulation inside of it, you already know this is not for you. This case is so interesting. I mean, look at these sort of wings on the side that can mount a 360 radiator. Unfortunately, we don't have any holes for 140mm fans, even though the side panel or this wing, this right wing, actually, you can see they are labeled at the top and at the bottom as well. So that makes installation much easier. But unfortunately, no 140mm mounts on either one of these wings. And it's cool because they can collapse into the frame like this, or they can go all the way to the back if you want to go with that sort of orientation. And of course, we have this massive motherboard tray, ATX support, and larger. And of course, I'm going to mount my beautiful ITX motherboard in here. It's kind of strange, but we have 2 power supply brackets. One can be installed at the bottom here, which is more traditional way, clearing up room for, the access to the CPU cutout, while another one can be installed in the upper section of this case. But I guess you can install 2 power supplies in here if you wish, but I'm going to be mounting mine at the bottom. Because everything arrives in parts and the assembly procedure is relatively straightforward, it's easy to mod, paint, and wrap. So you can really make this truly a custom, really personalized build. All the screws and everything like that comes in non-reusable bags, which is unfortunate. In terms of assembly, everything is pretty straightforward. The instructions sheet, it's a bit 2D, so you kind of have to orient it yourself, but we have markings on the actual frame onto which you install the PSU bracket, for example. There's guidings for the test bench system configuration. We also have a 100mm VESA mount, which is super unique, so you can wall mount your entire system and showcase all your components. Although Cooler Master recommends under 14 kilograms for the entire system if you are wall mounting, and if you are, my gosh, you are brave. Cooler Master has thought of a unique way to make sure that your case doesn't scratch the surface. So for example, we have these little rubber bits that you install at the bottom, over here, one there, and one on the swing as well, just so that it's stationary. And yeah, it gives me confidence, and my table has not been scratched yet. Awesome. Although you can clearly see that this front section is elevated. This is where the tempered glass is supposed to go, and that does not make contact with the table, with the surface. Only the actual frame does, so keep that in mind. But from what I can tell, even pressing on it, yeah, it stays in position. Nice. I think the benchmark build for this enclosure is to do a 360 radiator on each wing, because let's show it off, okay? Go full water cooling support, some beautiful motherboard, some maybe multi-GPU configuration, because why not? But really, the most important thing here is your hand at cable management. Just because everything is so exposed and open, I mean, that's the whole point of the enclosure. And you do have some channels with Velcros that will help you guide some of the thicker cables, and you can bunch everything, but you're gonna need some skill to make everything look right. For example, the I/O. It's great that we have Type-C Gen 2 and dual USB 3s that are blacked out, but the cables, man, they're already freaking me out. Yeah, wish me luck. All right, good people, I saved the peel for the both of us. Let's enjoy. All right, so when it comes to installing the side panel or the front panel, you gotta be careful because this bottom lip, I mean, that's all that's supporting the side panel right now. So you have to install the top lip simultaneously as like your way of finishing the system. But then if you have to remove it, you gotta handle some screws afterwards as well. Wow, that actually looks super dope. You just gotta make sure the glass is clean on both sides because there's no easy way to handle it without getting fingerprints all over the place. Plus, cable management is going to be your enemy, but maybe RGB components and fans will be your friends. After the system is assembled, aside from making sure the glass doesn't break, is the back section, because obviously the case is going to be quite chunky from that perspective. So you gotta really figure out how you're gonna manage all your cables, because you know there's no power supply shroud, there's no cap for your cables that will be exiting into the main chamber. But yeah, this is not going to be so much visible to the viewer. So just gotta make sure the front is as beautiful as you can make it. In terms of size, with the wings collapsed, it's much smaller than my Meshify 2, but it's not really meant to live with the wings closed, so the wingspan will add to the footprint, but because they have such a large angle of rotation, it opens up possibilities for just really cool hardline pathways for custom water cooling. And we also have heavy duty flexible hinges, so you can tighten them if you want to lock everything in place. Both the wings support the frame because it's part of like the structural integrity, so it doesn't fall over. And also if you're mounting something that is very precise in terms of hardline tubing, you can lock them in place, they will not rotate, or you can loosen them up a bit to make assembly easier. And this very much encourages experimentation for the MasterFrame 700 and not boring systems. Beside the motherboard, you can see we also have vertical pump mounts, and there's quite a bit of storage behind the motherboard tray with this rear bracket onto which you can install 4 SSDs or 3.5-inch drives, plus this angled bracket for SSDs only in case power supply occupies the top slot. And now I think it's time for us to turn this into a test bench and see how it holds up. All right, it's safe. The glass is safe. Oh wow, it is simpler than I thought. You mainly gotta rotate the support structures so they're not at the front, but they're at the back instead. Lastly, just gotta remount the I/O. Here we go. Here's the MasterFrame 700 in a test bench configuration. Looks pretty sweet, right? You can mount fans over here or radiators, and it still has a lot of mobility. If you don't want to, for example, utilize this space, just bend this in place like that as a little wall for all your cables. And the same thing can be done on this side, obviously. I'm just gonna keep it open for now. One cool thing is that we have an additional radiator mount over here. So there's a bracket, you can install a radiator either above or below the motherboard tray, which is pretty sweet. And yeah, this is kind of nicely open if you have to replace your graphics card, replace a cooler for anything. It just occupies a lot of space because you see how the wings open up. You can of course remove them and just keep the actual motherboard tray with the feet, but yeah. All right, so that is the Cooler Master MasterFrame 700. The only thing you sacrifice in the test bed mode is not being able to use that massive tempered glass side panel. Like there's literally no way for you to use it when it's in this orientation, but you're probably gonna buy this case to build some insane, beautiful enthusiast system and still utilize that open bed configuration. Open build, not bed. As soon as we find out about pricing, availability, launch date, I'll leave them in the comments below, but it's really impressive what Cooler Master was able to deliver with the MasterFrame 700. It's not necessarily something that I would gravitate towards because I don't do crazy showcase builds, but for people who do, this is a really cool opportunity to customize because of all the modding opportunities, to showcase something, and because we have the wings that modulate how far and close your tubing can go. And so this is something that we haven't seen, well, at least I haven't seen on any other showcase PC yet. I really hope that when the final retail units launch, we'll have better solutions for all the screws, maybe like a little box to sort everything, and perhaps a slightly more readable user manual that's not just a massive sheet, but something that you can follow that is slightly clearer. But yeah, that's the MasterFrame 700. I cannot wait to see what people do with it, the right people who play around with the proper hardware with these types of enclosures. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Check out this other relevant content. Thank you for watching this other CES video shot from my house. And yeah, I'll talk to you in the next video.